What's up, everybody, to my video of the upcoming WWE draft. As you can see, I have my pool, have my rounds, plus supplementary picks going on. That's going to happen on Saturday. Although I think this is going to be, for me, I'm not going to go, this is going to be the exact order, but let's get into it, because right now I'm just going to go first the champions and then what I think is going to go after that. And then I'll show the second. Fuck, man. What's up? Thanks for joining me showing my video of upcoming WWE draft. Here I have my lovely board with free pool, number 5 rounds plus supplementary picks for this Friday. Right now, I'm going to do the champions first, and then after that, I'm going to go into what I think is going to happen the rest of the night, just not in a certain order. So, with that, let's get started. With the first pick, I think Raw is going to go the New Day. At this point, you know, with Big E going back to New Day, I think it's pretty obvious that they're back together. They did their whole year apart, but now Big E has his thing together, so New Day all together, first round. Going to SmackDown, I think it's pretty obvious. The Bloodline, they're just going to meld them together and just say the Bloodline with that. Second round, we're going to go Charlotte Flair, Raw Women's Champion, pretty obvious. I don't think they're going to switch at all. That being said, Becky Lynch, if I can find her, will be, you know, pretty obvious on that one. And then for the third round of the first, we're going to go RK Bro. And there you have it. The first round, as far as the top champs, like I said earlier, I'm doing champs first. Now, going in the second round, we have, we're gonna put them. Next, we have U.S. champion Damian Priest. I don't think the IC or US are gonna cross brands. That being said, the IC plus Rick Boogs, first round, they're going to have. Next, 24-hour champ, Reggie. Yeah, enough said about that. Biggest cross that's going to happen is the women's tag team champion. I believe Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley are going to go to SmackDown. Don't know why, but I just feel like that's going to happen. Next up, now this might be a surprise for anybody who care to watch this. I do believe Finn Balor is going to go to Raw. Reason why he's going to go to Raw is because of what SmackDown's going to do, and that's the Hurt Business are now all together going to SmackDown, which they're going to face the Bloodline at some point. With that, next pick for Raw, Alexa Bliss. After a couple of nights ago, I think we're going to see the Five Fury come back and challenge Charlotte Flair once again for the championship and whatnot. Let me do that again. Up next, Raw chooses Alexa Bliss. At this point, I believe the Five Fury is coming. Ah, damn. Next up, we have Alexa Bliss. I think she's going to stay on Raw for quite a bit. We're going to get that 5 Feet of Fury. And we'll see if she re-challenged Charlotte Flair. Most likely, we're going to get that. Going to back to SmackDown. Bianca Belair. We still don't have an ending for that, thanks to Sasha Banks, but there might be a triple threat match soon to come, or what have you. Moving on, the last pick is we're gonna have AJ and Omos. They're gonna stay there. There's really no point in AJ going back to SmackDown with Omos. So yeah, that's the third round. Let's move on to the fourth round. Now, with the fourth round, Nat Tamina will jump ship to Raw just so they can switch places with Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley. Next up, who we have staying over, Sasha Banks, so we can have that triple threat match, probably again, so we know a definitive winner for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Also, staying over on Raw, Karrion Kross. Enough about that. Also, jumping ship from Raw to SmackDown is Jeff Hardy. I believe he has more capabilities and more lights on SmackDown than he does on Raw, where he's not going to be chasing Reggie for the 24/7 championship. And last but not least, we have jumping ship from SmackDown to Raw is their Dirty Dogs. Most likely we'll have them face probably Mason T-Bar or Mansoor and Ali. So that is the fourth round. All right, on to the fifth round. First up, we stand over on Raw, Shayna Baszler, so she can challenge whoever's left of Alexa Bliss or Flair. She'll be the number one contenders match for that. Staying on SmackDown, Seth Rollins. Now, normally I think he'll be a little bit higher, but only because I'm kind of doing contenders for the championship. But Seth probably would be a little bit higher if he didn't, still beefing with Edge. Who knows when that's going to end. Round 3 is probably going to happen soon. Probably I don't know. Doesn't matter. Next up, Keith Lee. He's staying on Raw. Whoever is his manager, considering it's not going to be Adam Cole, baby. So let's see what they're going to do with Keith Lee still on Raw. And finally, SmackDown chooses the Alpha Academy because Otis really needs a tag team championship, and they're the next in lines to challenge the Usos for those titles. And last but not least, for Raw, jumping ship from SmackDown to Raw is Carmella. Only because it might be the only storyline I could think of is Carmella versus Eva Marie, and that whole biz. So that's the fifth round. Now for the sub picks for the next following day. Raw selects Doudrop. Only because I don't see her on SmackDown just yet. There might be a storyline still that she can actually do. Maybe go after Eva Marie once again, but I hope they don't do anything of that nature. Next up, Sheamus is going to SmackDown. Honestly, it was a tough choice between Jeff Hardy or Sheamus going to SmackDown, but they might just send them both to SmackDown just because, Sheamus really can't go against Damian Priest once again, and I don't really see him going after Big E or Drew once that ordeal is done with. But you never know. Next up, we have the 24/7 crew, whether it's R-Truth, Akira, or Drew Gulak. most likely it's probably R-Truth. Uh, I think he's gonna just stay on Raw until, you know, until Vince says you're not funny anymore, you're out of here, and he's gone. And lastly, Naomi. Two reasons why: because she's married to Jimmy, and they keep couples together, as well as to finish the storyline with Sonya Deville. And lastly, the last pick for Raw is Nia Jax, only because I would like to see her and Tamina team up to get the titles back. You know, because they're family. We might have a female version of the Usos. So that's that. So this is my board. I will update it for the next time for part 2. This time I'll write it down what picks actually happened that time. So yeah, thanks for looking at my WWE draft board. Look for the second part.